Welcome into the Bird and the Bear podcast. Week 6 of the college football season is episode 7 already. Michael Knauff, Cameron Carriglio. And Cameron, last week, not really a whole lot of surprises coming into week 6, which features one of the biggest games of the year.
And then nothing else.
Yeah, there's
absolutely nothing else.
This week sucks.
Iowa, Michigan, but I'm not going to be able to see it unless I stream it at the tailgate. But the night games, my God,
it's an abomination.
I normally really am pumped for like whatever happens, but there's not even like really any competitive like Intermountain West games on Saturday that I can tune into, or like Sun Belt. There's legitimately nothing.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, maybe Cal Oregon tonight. That's like the saving grace.
Honestly, Cal bores the shit out of me, and Oregon kind of does too.
Which is weird to say for Oregon.
I just feel like they don't really play up to their offensive potential. We've talked about this, that their play calling really annoys me.
Yeah. But regardless, there's some storylines that were built from last week. Primarily, we're going to start with the SEC, who has 5 undefeated teams left, by far the most of any conference. And you can make an argument for all 5 teams, but there's definitely a hierarchy right in there.
As honestly, as much as I hate to say it, Florida's on the bottom of that hierarchy right now until they beat somebody that is upper echelon. Because there's a clear talent disparity between the other 5-0 teams in Florida. Or maybe not talent, but just what they've been doing to opposing teams.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't hung 60 on anybody. Every game, we've just kind of had complaints. Even we have 2 shutouts right now, and we're looking at those games kind of, well, we didn't do this. I think the 4 out of the 5 have legitimate playoff hopes. Florida could very well prove me wrong. I mean, 06 we didn't exactly look pretty for the majority of the year.
Yeah, there was a Twitter thread that I saw that would post the results from that season. Beat Vandy by
25-19. I was at that game.
Yeah, it's like by a score. Beat Florida, a 6-6 Florida State team by 7. Always the cock block, at home. I mean, there was a lot of games where Florida didn't dominate people, but
yeah, the offense wasn't exactly explosive. We only put up 26 on a up and coming but not great Kentucky team that year.
The defense was the catalyst for that
defense
team.
Was great. That Vandy game, I was 9 years old, but we could have lost that game pretty easily. I remember walking out of the stadium with my dad after that when we kind of looked at each other, and he looked at me and was like, we won. Because, I don't know, Vandy wasn't very good that year.
Well, Vandy's, they're never
That good. Was right after Cutler. It took us to overtime the year prior to that. Triple overtime, to be exact.
But I don't know if Florida's defense is quite to what the 06 level was.
No,
that was just
insanity.
An absolutely disgusting defense. And obviously what they did to Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl that year was a clinic of how to stop an offense.
And just to note, I mean, as far as the SEC goes, there are 5 undefeated teams largely because the SEC is abnormally top-heavy. I mean, normally you see the SEC, ever since they expanded to 14 teams, you see, 12 of them make bowls generally, 11 to 12. We're looking at like 8.
Yeah, I would say 8
this year. Kentucky's not in good shape. South Carolina's not in the best of shape.
Mississippi State's not in good shape.
Mississippi State is laying an egg right now for a full season. That K-State loss really hurt. Ole Miss, I don't think they win 6 games. Vandy, obviously, I mean, their hole's way too deep. They're not winning 5 SEC games. It's not
not at all. And then A&M looks...
And honestly, Vandy may actually be more talented than they've been in the past. But it hasn't really seemed to matter because they've been playing really difficult opponents. And they had a healthy Purdue.
Which, yeah.
The only time Purdue's been healthy all year and they lose. That being said, though, I mean, teams have just done their jobs. And that's been nationally across the board. You haven't seen anybody lose shockingly yet. And we're almost halfway through the season.
Yeah, there hasn't really any, monumental upsets. Obviously, the season is still relatively young, so, a lot can happen, but one SEC team will no longer be undefeated after this weekend. Obviously, Auburn, Florida, we'll talk about that a little bit more later. But probably the feel-good story right now this season, SMU being ranked. I mean, that's awesome.
I love it. And I love Sonny Dykes. Air Raid, you know how I feel about Air Raid.
You have a hard-on for him.
They always had the offense at Cal, but not the defense. I mean, he had Jared Goff and Davis Webb back-to-back. They were throwing for a lot, scoring a lot, and just getting outscored. And then Sonny Dykes comes in, coaches the bowl game 2 years ago. They get shredded, like 50-3. And then they go 5-7 last year. I'm like, well, here it is again. They suck again. And he's turned the ship around, and they have like 10 or 11 wins in front of them right now.
Oh yeah, they could definitely.
Tulsa's a bit of a trap, though. Tulsa's not a bad team this year.
Their defense is pretty respectable.
And they have a quarterback now. That Baylor transfer, Zach Smith. They hadn't thrown for over 300 yards in a game since like 16, and he's getting close consistently. Aside from Michigan State, who suffocated them. But Tulsa's probably a bowl team this year. We'll get there, but I don't think that line's low enough.
Yeah, I mean, 1986 was the last time.
And we've seen so many teams get ranked on the back end like that and just immediately lose.
It's happened at least, 6-7 times already this season?
Yeah. I mean, 18 through 25 has been a revolving door.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how that's happened this year. I mean, Arizona State did that 2 weeks ago, and then they turn around, they go to Cal and win, and now they're ranked again. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
The fact that Cal dropped out is ludicrous.
If Garber doesn't get hurt in that game, they win.
Yeah. Well, if Garbers doesn't get hurt and they lose, they're probably still ranked. But Modster showed nothing.
He looked really bad.
Yeah. And he looked good at UCLA a few years ago, so it might have just been a little bit of rust. But they didn't look very good.
No, their offense was stagnant.
An already relatively one-dimensional offense became significantly more one-dimensional when he took over.
Yeah, it was poor. But you got to give Arizona State credit. Defensively, they hung stout.
Yeah, quick shout out to Evan Weaver. 77 tackles already, 18 more than number 2 in the country.
Jeez. Those are numbers right there. Damn. But to a team that could make a case for being the best in the country, what Ohio State did to Nebraska on Saturday night was embarrassing.
Well, let's face it, Nebraska's not a very good team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the hype behind Nebraska season was way overdone. They have no business being ranked in the preseason.
They have some talent, but they're still young. They're still adjusting to a new scheme. They actually did some good things in the first half against Ohio State and just kept making mistakes. They came out in the old like Tommy Frazier offense for a drive. Worked great. They stomped right down the field, threw a pick in the red zone. Not that it wouldn't have mattered end result. They probably still would have lost by at least 3 touchdowns. But they're not very good. But Ohio State is legitimate this year. And as I said earlier about there not being a whole lot of tumult in the top 10 this year, while it may not make for the most entertaining regular season, if this continues, obviously that's a big if, but nobody's really come close to losing yet aside from Clemson, who we'll get to. We're looking at a fun conclusion to the season when 7 to 8 teams right now could realistically
be undefeated or one loss, with
undefeated or one loss to each other, and have legitimate chances to make a playoff. I think this might finally be the year where an 8-team playoff looks legitimate.
Where it can be justified.
Because to me, previously, I've never been able to say that 8 teams deserve to make a playoff. There's like 6. I think 5 to 6 generally have the resume to be there. This year, I think you're looking at potentially 8 teams that could make a claim.
Yeah, I mean, right now, you could definitely say, obviously, Clemson, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Ohio State, Oklahoma.
I mean, let's say at the end of the year, Oklahoma's on the outside looking in. Because, I mean, the Big 12 is kind of a gauntlet. Even if they're maybe a little down this year. If they're number 5 outside looking in, you're telling me you wouldn't want to see, Oklahoma, LSU? How much fun that would be?
Oh, that would be...
It's a good chance they play each other in a
yeah.
non-playoff bowl. But still, I mean... I don't know. It's gonna be fun.
It'll be a lot of fun, and obviously there's still 7 weeks left in the season.
There's 8, I think. There's still another whole bye week.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, there is 2 byes this year. But another undefeated team that drew some criticism last week. Clemson squeaked out a 1-point win in Chapel Hill. If it wasn't for a missed 2-point conversion by UNC with under a minute left.
Poorly executed 2-point conversion. That play could have worked.
Yeah, very.
They could have Statue of Liberty that thing and actually would have.
Yeah, it would have.
Clemson bit hard on the left side, their left side, not TV's. I agree with Clemson dropping out of the number 1 spot. That being said, I don't think they lose again. That's probably the kick in the ass they need.
Yeah, a lot of people are comparing them to 2014 Florida State.
I said lose again. They clearly didn't lose. but I don't think they'll lose this year. I think that would have been it.
Yeah, I agree. I don't like Wake Forest is going to be the best team record-wise that they'll play the rest of the season. And
It's just so funny to see.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of putting Wake Forest in any type of remotely good sentence when it comes to football.
They didn't crack the top 25, did they?
They're 22nd.
Oh, good. Okay.
They're ranked
They
now.
deserve it.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they're 5-0. I mean, they kind of deserve to be.
Yeah. Well,
At this point.
the AP poll is absolutely ridiculous. So.
But yeah, I don't think Clemson will lose the rest of the season. I think when it comes down, when they do get into the playoff, I think it's not going to be pretty for them. I just think there's something not right there.
Almost like a hangover.
Yeah.
I mean, they have essentially the same offense through 5 games. Is it 5 or 4? They've only played 4 games, haven't they?
They've played. I think they played 5.
Oh, 4.
4?
Wait.
No, they played 5.
They
They
played
beat
5.
Georgia Tech in the opener. So
Yeah.
yeah, they played 5.
So, I mean, Lawrence has one 300-yard game. He was doing that every week in his starts last year, and easily. He's making more mistakes. I saw a side-by-side comparison of him and Sam Howell's stats. Sam Howell's actually blowing him out of the water.
Yeah, he's more efficient this year.
And making far fewer mistakes. I mean, I think they'll figure it out. They've still scored 52, 41, 52. Scored 24 and 21, still won those games. But yeah, you're right. Something looks a little off. It almost looks like 2017 Clemson. That scored 6 against Bama.
Yeah, that's fair. But obviously, like Kelly Bryant to Trevor Lawrence you scratch your head a little bit more.
Yeah. And this may just be a little bit of a hangover, and I think they'll be fine.
I do too. I like you said. I think they'll run the table the rest of the way. But
I don't think they win the championship this year, though.
I agree. I don't think they
I think
will
other
either.
teams have caught up quickly.
Yeah, there's you can make a case for 4 other teams to legitimately win the title.
I mean, I came into this year thinking, well, who the hell can challenge Clemson?
Everyone, I didn't see a single person who had
I-
anybody but Clemson.
Yeah,
winning.
nobody in their right mind did. I mean, we saw what they did to the definitive number 2 team in the nation last year. And I didn't feel like any other teams got demonstrably better to really challenge them. And now I'm looking at Ohio State, I'm looking at Oklahoma, I'm looking at LSU, Bama, as teams that maybe would beat them right now. Or should beat them right now.
I think all 4 of those teams, if they matched up, if they play Clemson on a neutral site, beat them.
Yeah.
But just to a brief point, the Pac-12 South is kind of a total crapshoot right now. I know Utah bounced back last week with a definitive win over Washington State, but Arizona State, they're hanging in right there. Do they have an outside shot at taking that division?
Just because of their defense, yes. And the surprising poise of Jaden Daniels. He looked really, really good.
For a true freshman, he's been unbelievable.
Basically has done what they needed him to do. He has 2 300-yard games already. He's actually due for one next time they play. He's gone every other game so far.
They play Colorado, or not Colorado. Colorado plays Arizona.
They're bye this week.
Yeah, you're right. They are up by.
Like 80 other teams in the nation. Yeah, I think they have a shot. I think everybody has a shot. Washington State kind of screwed themselves.
Oh yeah.
They got apple cupped 5 games into the year.
Which is really sad to see.
Yeah.
We are rooting hard for them.
Yeah, I mean, Anthony Gordon was my fantasy QB. Not that it would have mattered. I was still getting blown out. But it would have been window dressing.
How much fun would it have been to see a Cal Washington State Pac-12 final?
I don't know. Give it a few years. I don't see that conference resurrecting itself anytime soon.
Oh no. The top is the top in that conference. I mean, Washington.
USC has a few years. They're like Florida a few years ago, where you see the talent, but they're a few years good coaching.
They need the right guy. USC needs the right guy in there.
Right guy's Urban. Let's be real.
I honestly think that he might, because Urban can't stay away from coaching.
No.
And I think I legitimately think that he will be at USC, if not next year, the following season.
Next year.
Yeah.
They're not going to waste another year with Hilton. They're going to get rid of him after this year. Even if he probably has done a better coaching job than his other years, he's just not had consistent quarterback play because they've gone through 3 quarterbacks
Yeah.
already.
Would it be easier to root for Urban Meyer because he's at USC?
Yes. It's fun when USC is good.
It is.
It's not fun when Ohio State's good.
The West,
always good.
Yeah, because when they're the Western, the team out West that's dominant. The college football's better. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's nice having a team out West to stay up late and watch. Remember, you might not. It was the 05 Fresno State USC game.
Oh, the highlights from that game.
Reggie Bush just made them look like a Pee Wee team. That was a crazy game.
Yeah.
I was like 7, and that game stuck with me. Still remember him hurtling a guy into the end zone. Like, the final score was 60-40.
It was stupid. It was dumb.
A ton of points on both sides because Fresno State was actually really good.
They were good that year. Yeah,
they were ranked.
That was I've seen the highlight package.
Random ass late season out of conference game.
Yeah, it was really late in the season, wasn't it? It was
only the 11th game, 10th game when they played 11.
Yeah. We're gonna move on now we're gonna break down Auburn, Florida a little bit more.
Just the only really game we're talking about.
It really is.
Iowa, Michigan.
It's the third top 10 matchup so far this season, and this is the first one between conference opponents. Really, if you've read or listened to any sports pundit, I have not seen a single person take Florida.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. Even guys that analysts that I think are generally pretty intelligent aren't. Skip Bayless picked us.
Well, shit, there you go.
Us. I mean, it's a well-known fact that he loves us.
Oh, yeah, I mean, Tim Tebow's his guy.
But basically, just listed reasons why they wouldn't win. And it was basically true freshman, prime time, top 10 Gator team, homecoming. He literally said there's no way they win.
All right, Skip.
But he's known for that. I mean, he doesn't dabble in gray areas.
No, yeah, but the definitives, the things that have a large influence on games.
You know Herb Street's going to pick Auburn just to piss off.
So is Desmond Howard.
I mean, they already hate them both. Picking Florida in this is not going to change the ire that Florida fans have towards either of those men.
Especially
they might as well just throw gasoline on the fire. Corso probably picks us.
Corso likes us.
Corso does like us. He lives in Orlando, and he brings it up.
Steve Russell actually at WRUF was trying to get him on his show for this week. Yeah,
I love Lee. He's losing it, but I love him.
Yeah, he's so fun.
Have they announced the guest yet?
No, they haven't. I hope it's Pete Alonso.
Oh, I want Spurrier.
That would be fun. Spurrier would be fun.
You know, it wouldn't be fun. Warfel.
He's kind of bland.
Yeah,
he's really bland. But that's the thing is, and it was Aaron Taylor. He picked Auburn, but during his little spiel, he made a point. Florida's 7-2 versus top 10 opponents in their last 9 games in the Swamp.
And Nolan's 4-0 against the spread in this time in Florida.
I mean, look at LSU last year. It's kind of a very similar scenario.
It is very similar. No one picked us.
Yeah, and LSU honestly had no real business being in that game late. Because if Franks didn't throw that pick on the first drive of the second half, Florida goes up 2 scores.
Yeah. And
with the way the Florida defense was playing, I mean, I don't know if LSU can recover from 2 scores at that point.
Yeah, I mean, relevant to the game itself. Obviously, Auburn's defense has been statistically worse than ours, but the level of competition they played has been higher, and that's an undisputable fact.
Oh, it's undeniable, yeah.
That being said, they've been thrown on a little bit. Mon threw for 335. Even actually Schrader, for Miss State, had a little bit of success late. I mean, it was a blowout, but still. Herbert, like we mentioned, he looked great in the first half, and the play calling got stagnant.
I thought that Oregon could have very easily put up 35 plus on them.
Yeah, they should have at least put up 28. They don't fumble at the goal line. Nix hasn't done well under pressure.
Pressure is in getting blitzed, not scale of atmosphere.
I mean, he already went to College Station and won, so.
But he didn't play that great of a game.
He was 12 of 20 for 100 yards.
He made some good plays with his legs when they needed to be made, but it was mostly just because he pulled a read option.
That's what I'm most concerned about, actually, is his legs.
I am too. I think Amari Burney needs to spy on Bo Nix the entire game.
Yeah, we need 1 spy, maybe 2 sometimes if we're confident they're not trying to throw on us too much. He hasn't thrown more than 24 passes.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't expect him to come out gunning.
They're going to try to run the ball, though.
I was watching his highlights from this day game. His stats looked really gaudy, but he made a few throws on completions that aren't going to work all the time.
We got to say,
the second Seth Williams touchdown was a duck.
It was really underthrown, and because Williams is just a freak.
Well, it was really bad play by the corner. He basically fell down on his back trying to pick it off.
it was funny because Shane Matthews earlier today said his comment on Mississippi State's secondary was he's seen high school secondaries blow less coverages than they did. So I really think that Florida's got a shot to put through the air. As long as the pass protection is decent.
Yeah. I don't think we'll need to run the ball that much. I think
agree.
Establishing the run is a little bit overrated.
I agree. I think you're going to just...
Throwing establishes the run.
It needs to be back to like the way Spurrier, that offensive mindset. I think Trask is good. You're going to have a lot of sprint outs. We saw it last week against Towson that they moved the pocket a lot, and I think it was kind of to get Trask comfortable with that, and you saw how accurate he was on those deep out routes.
I'd like us to get downfield a little bit more, though. The Nick and Doug stuff's fine, but I feel like we've had opportunities to go downfield a little bit more. And we've seen one overthrow, 2 drops in the last 2 weeks on balls like that. But those are going to be completed more often than not. I mean, it's not going to be second stringers in there. I think we come out, take a couple shots early.
Guns blazing, yeah. I think that Grantham's going to blitz Knicks quite a bit.
Yeah. I don't know. Grantham's early game plan stressed me out.
Yeah, I'm not so much worried about the second half because
his second half adjustments are great.
But the first half, that's the thing. Florida can't get down by 2 scores.
No, I would agree with that. But still, I mean, I'm gonna pick Florida, just mainly because of home field. Like next week, I'm no matter if we beat Auburn, I'm picking LSU.
Because going to Death Valley at night is not an easy task.
Going to Death Valley at all, and they're actually good.
Yeah, LSU's pretty damn good. But I think I'm going 2017 Florida.
I'll go higher, 31-24, 31-24.
Really?
Yeah. I think there are going to be some points scored.
But other than Auburn and Florida, there's not really a whole lot this week. The only other ranked matchup is Iowa-Michigan. And for some asinine reason...
Michigan's favorite.
Michigan's a 3.5-point favorite.
Yeah, no. Not buying it.
Shea Patterson is going to get demolished by that front four of Iowa.
They might just get demolished in general again. I like Iowa. Pretty big.
I do too. And Iowa offensively has looked very competent. Stanley is having a career year.
Yeah, his numbers aren't great yet, but he's been really efficient, and he hasn't really needed to do too terribly much. So, I like Iowa a lot this year.
I do too. When they play Wisconsin, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's like an old school Big Ten kind of game.
Yeah, that game's going to be low scoring.
We're going to get to the rest of the games a little bit later, but we're going to dabble in some Heisman talk right now. Because 6 weeks into the season, some guys have kind of established themselves, and really it's 4 quarterbacks and a running back, in my opinion, right now.
2 running backs.
So I have Johnson Taylor, who's running other back.
Chuba
Hubbard?
Chuba Hubbard. He has 300 more rushing yards than anybody else. That's insane.
Does him playing for Oklahoma State, though, hinder him?
Yeah, I mean, he'll probably win the Doak.
Over Taylor?
Yeah. He's averaging 50 more yards a game.
I mean, I would argue Taylor does rush against much stiffer competition.
Yeah, but I don't know, it's tough to argue. If he ends up really pulling away and not getting injured and outrushes Taylor by 750 yards.
Okay, yeah, that's a bit, yeah, that's a number, 750 is hard to
He's
dispute.
on pace for like 2,300.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. But obviously, quarterback-wise, it's Tua, Hurts, Fields, and Burrow are the 4, I'd say that you can make cases for right now.
Yep. And they're dead heat to me.
Yeah. I feel
I
like...
like Hurts, though.
I like Tua.
I mean, you could make a great argument for...
Literally all of them, yeah. But, okay, we'll go with those 6 guys definitely are right now.
And Ellinger, dark horse.
Just because of the dual threat.
Yeah. I saw between like those guys you just mentioned, I was reading a blurb on ESPN about like watch lists, and one of them is Davey O'Brien. Those 5 guys have combined for 83 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
The latter stat is the most impressive. 4 interceptions.
Well, Fields hasn't thrown one. Tua hasn't thrown one.
Burrow's thrown
One
or two.
1 or 2.
Ellinger's thrown
One, I think.
Hurts 1.
Hurts has 1. Yeah. Texas Tech picked him off.
That's
insane,
impressive. That's that's pretty damn insane. And now for Cameron's favorite segment of the week, his hot takes. 0 for 4.
I mean, yeah, it's not exactly shocking. Nothing shocking happened last week. I would have been wrong. Anything I picked.
Yeah. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be an upset, but like just something that you think might happen this week that we'll see.
Well, I picked a within line once, and that didn't work. So, I don't know. This week, though, WVU Texas, maybe, but I don't know. WVU just isn't explosive this year. I'm going to go Cincy over UCF.
I think this will really test UCF's mettle.
Yeah, if they can, knowing they're out of it entirely nationally, can they keep up the same level of intensity they have generally had in conference? I think it's going to be interesting. I know that Cincinnati got blown out by Ohio State. It's Ohio State this year.
Yeah, they've done that to everybody.
Cincy already has a Power 5 win. They beat the crap out of Marshall last week, who's not a bad team. Offensively inept, but not a bad team. Since he's at home, they tend to get up for their home games for a group of 5.
Yeah, it's a Friday night, so like they're the center stage.
Yeah, it's going to be a blackout.
The field that they're
that was a joke.
It is a joke.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Because like
someone went to the stadium and was like, "Guys are kidding."
Because it was on there too much. I was like, wait a second.
Yeah, they did a good job of convincing. There were some telltale signs of Photoshop, but yeah, I'm excited for that one actually. It was just on Saturday night. Jesus.
Yeah, it would be the primetime slate. Jesus.
But
yeah.
Desmond Ritter's due to have a really nice breakout game. His stats have been good, but nothing flashy, and he's capable of being flashy.
Yeah.
So, if nothing else, I think Cincinnati's close. But the line would predict that. I think Cincinnati comes over to win.
Okay. And that'll kind of get us right into the picture of the week. That was the first game that we were going to discuss anyway. I'm going to take UCF just because I think offensively that they're just going to outscore Cincinnati.
I took UCF on the board. I'm not changing it.
It
just wouldn't shock me if Cincinnati won.
But we're going to go down to the Saturday slate. Utah State goes to LSU. And this is going to be kind of a test for that LSU secondary coming off a bye week to see if any adjustments they made. Jordan Love could put up some numbers.
Yeah, I mean, Utah State looked a little clunky last week against Colorado State. They played in a monsoon for the first 3 quarters, but he only threw for like 204 yards. And Colorado State's notoriously terrible on pass D.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't shock me if it's like a Northwestern State kind of situation where they had success for a few drives, but I think ultimately LSU doesn't have too much of an issue. I'm thinking like 56-24.
I'm thinking in that ballpark. I would agree that
LSU's averaging 57 points a game, so them clearing that much is
not surprising at all.
Not exactly a hot take.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, LSU's going to cover the 27.5 point spread, I think.
Burrow probably throws for another 5 million yards and 8 touchdowns. Seems like his stats are just ridiculous every week.
Dude, I'm sorry. I know he's playing well, but I can't stand that man.
He's a bit of a tool, but we'd love him if he was on our team.
That's fair. It's kind of like he's like Felipe.
I mean, he's like a Felipe that throws for 380 a game.
That's fair. That's a good way to put it. I'll give you that. Also, like, I don't know. I just from being a Florida fan, LSU is not from a fandom standpoint. Yeah. We already discussed Iowa, Michigan some. We both like Iowa big in that one. That would prove Iowa to 5-0.
Well, Iowa certainly coached better.
Yeah.
Talent level, I think, is similar.
Which is just on the offensive and defensive fronts, if not exceeding on Iowa's side. To the Big 12. So your boy Chuba Hubbard and Oklahoma State, ranked 21st in the country, they go to Lubbock, Texas to battle Texas Tech. Okie State's a 10-point favorite, and I think they handle business here.
Yeah, Texas Tech is not very good.
No, they're bad.
Bellman's hurt. They don't have a pass game. Jackson Tyner looked terrible against Oklahoma. Jet Duffy looked moderately less terrible, but they still can't run the air raid with him. Whatever offense they do run, it's not the air raid, but it is pass heavy. Run game, nothing doing. They're still an air raid personnel. Oklahoma State's unusually good at defense this year.
I know, it's weird. They held K-State 13 points last week.
Not that K-State's really been terribly explosive, but they held Texas at 36 and looked pretty solid for the majority of the game. I don't know. This is more of a defensively oriented Big 12 this year, if you take away Texas. Because even Oklahoma State, like, they were getting in shootouts every year for, God, like, the last 10 years.
Yeah.
By, like, them, like, 41 to 20.
Okay.
I really don't think it's going to be very close.
Yeah, I think Oklahoma State's going to easily handle business here.
Oklahoma State on the over last week was one of the easiest picks of the week, so I'm going to do it again.
Yeah. Another Big 12 matchup. TCU goes to Iowa State. Iowa State's a 3.5-point favorite. And Iowa State's been kind of underwhelming so far.
Yeah, their schedule's been difficult, though. I mean, 2 out of your first 4 games are Iowa and Baylor. 2 extremely well-coached teams. They probably should have beaten Iowa.
Yeah, they beat them in everything except the scoreboard.
They erased a 3-touchdown deficit in the fourth quarter against Baylor, only to watch Baylor march down the field and kick a field goal to win. So they could easily be 4-0. TCU showed me nothing. Iowa State at home is generally a tough place to play. I like Iowa State here.
I'll take Iowa State as well. I thought TCU kind of was tripped up and exposed against SMU.
I mean, yeah, congrats. You beat up Kansas.
Yeah.
Kansas is better this year, but they're still not back. Not there, but we're there. But they're not going to contend for a bowl this year.
No, and TCU kind of did the same thing kind of last year. They started off hot, and then they got...
They're like a 6 or 7 win team.
Yeah.
And they're young, and they've battled a ton of injuries already. But I was going to pick home team, really, here. I like Iowa State.
I like Iowa State as well.
I think Purdy can have some success a la Buechele from a couple weeks ago. Because SMU could have thrown for many more yards than they did.
God, I hope that Purdy plays well. I had to pick him up in my fantasy team.
I have Sean Clifford, so...
We're kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
Tulane goes to Army, a matchup of 3-1 teams. This game could be pretty good. Very defensive-oriented.
Quickest game of the week.
Oh my god, yeah. This game didn't last like 2 hours.
I mean, Tulane doesn't really run the triple option anymore.
But they go into it.
They run often. I actually like Army here. I was surprised Tulane was favored.
I'm going to take Tulane, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because I still think that Army offensively is capable enough of putting up more than 17 points.
They put 21 against Michigan.
They put 14 on Michigan. No, overtime, right, 21. Okay, they just scored in overtime.
Yeah, but I mean, they're going to eat clock. Eat a lot of clock. I think it's going to be like 20 to 17.
It's going to be very low scoring. Yeah, it'll be fun.
This would be a big win for Tulane, though.
Yes. And if that's the case, then that Auburn win over Tulane looks a whole lot better as the season goes on.
Oh, yeah. I thought that win already looked good.
I did, too.
I've been on the Tulane hype train for a few weeks.
They're fun. Another Big 12 game, we talked about Texas, West Virginia. Texas is a 10.5-point favorite in Morgantown. And both teams are 3-1, but there is a stark difference between each team's 3-1.
Oh, yeah. You look at the 3. This is not even a conversation. I think WVU could pull a surprise here, but I'm not going to pick them to. Offensively, they're just not very explosive. I feel like they're still kind of getting their feet under them in this offense, which is that modified air raid.
Mm-hmm.
Austin Kendall's not a bad quarterback, but I don't think he's going to win them that game.
I agree.
And they need him to win them that game.
He's not a difference maker.
No. Watch him go for 504 touchdowns.
Yeah, but your words on that.
But I don't think it'll happen. I think Texas wins 34-24.
Yeah.
This is one of those games that I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think it'll be like a bad beat kind of situation.
I think Texas will take a lead, like a double-digit lead late to kind of just put the game away.
Yeah.
They played one of those entertaining games of all 2018 last year, though.
They did. That was great.
That was
Austin Kendall is not Will Greer.
No, we're even close. To the MAC. God, we're talking about the fucking MAC this week. It's that kind of week.
Those.
Western Michigan goes to Toledo. Toledo's a 1.5-point favorite.
It's a good game.
Yeah, this will be fun. I like Toledo.
I like Toledo as well. Western Michigan's been throwing a lot. They can run, though. I mean, both of these offenses are very explosive. But Toledo's run game just beats you down. And they're defensively, they've been mediocre. But at home, they coming off a big win against BYU. I think they win by about 8-7.
I do too. I think they're
38-31.
I think they're going to beat Michigan or Western Michigan
Maybe
into the ground.
Frankly.
Yeah, I'll agree with that there. By a touchdown at least.
Yeah.
Another Big 12 game. Undefeated Baylor goes to Kansas State. Got some intrigue to it.
I'm kind of jumping on the Baylor train.
Yeah, no, they're
I
fun.
like them here.
Yeah,
I like them a lot here. Kansas State, I think, kind of came back to reality last week.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a little bit of hangover from that. So, I mean, Baylor hasn't looked super convincing in all their wins, but they're 4-0, and they're well coached. They're super well coached. So is Kansas State. I think Baylor's where Kansas State will be next year.
Okay.
Like a dark horse contender in the conference.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, aside from Oklahoma, there's no one really leaping out that 2 spot.
No. Texas maybe, but like I think they have some.
But I think Texas will get upset.
Yeah. And Baylor could be the team to do it.
Yeah, Baylor could very easily be the team to do it.
I'll take Baylor as well in this one. Moving out west, Arizona goes to Colorado. Both teams 3-1. The Buffs 4.5-point favorite. Colorado, they're a basket case, honestly.
Arizona is too. They fucking lost to Hawaii. I mean, Hawaii's not a bad team. They beat Nevada 54-3 on the road last week, and that's the same team that beat a healthy Purdue. Then lost to Oregon by 71, but that doesn't fit my argument. Both these teams are bipolar. You never know what Arizona you're going to get. We don't know if Khalil Tate's going to play, but Grant Gunnell actually looked
Played
really
well
good
last week, yeah.
Well, second half he settled down. His stats looked good in the first half, but he was throwing at guys' feet, aiming the ball, almost like he was throwing darts. And he landed a couple. He got like a big 40-yard completion at the end of the half that didn't matter. It just padded his stats. But he did what he needed to do for them to win and did not make any mistakes. So I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to take Colorado for the home field. But wouldn't at all shock me if Arizona pulls this off. Because Arizona's looked really good defensively the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, they've been stiff. I mean, they held a UCLA team that dropped 67 the previous week, 17.
And let's get real here. UCLA hadn't scored more than 14 before that.
Yeah.
And I mean, they allowed 14 to Texas Tech when Texas Tech was still healthy.
Forced a lot of turnovers.
Yeah.
They
made Bowman take short route upon short route upon short route in that game. So
this is kind of a toss-up. I'm going to take Colorado as well, just because home field and I like Montez.
Yeah, Montez has largely been very good this year.
So the Big Ten, which this might be the most overhyped ranked matchup of the entire week. Michigan State goes to Ohio State. Ohio State's a 20-point favorite, and honestly, I'm taking that over.
Yeah, they're going to kill them.
It's going to be bad. I mean, you're going to see like Justin Fields' game, 250 passing yards, a couple touchdowns. We were talking about it earlier.
He's just Mr. Consistency.
How consistent he is. And J.K. Dobbins is, honestly, he's
coming to his own.
And he's not talked about as much as other running backs, I feel, in the country.
He doesn't score very much. He ran for $190 last week and didn't score. So you're not getting into the end zone. The highlights.
Yeah, there's no highlights. Yeah.
He's a tough physical runner, though.
Yeah, he's scary to tackle in open field. When he gets his second level with a head of steam, he's about as good as any back in the country.
That Master Teague kid that's their backup is also really, really good. Like Pierce-esque for Florida, but maybe better.
Boy, it's a better offensive line to run behind.
Yeah. And he gets second level and can dole out some hits. But yeah, Ohio State in a landslide.
Yeah, I'm big time. Cal and Oregon in the nightcap. Cal 4-1. Oregon ranked 13th, 3-1. Oregon's an 18-point favorite. I don't buy it. I think Oregon will win, but I think 18 is kind of ridiculous.
Oddsmakers do realize that Chase Garbers doesn't play defense, right? That defense is intact and they're elite. I don't see Oregon scoring more than 30, maybe even 28. At which point that line does become feasible.
28-10?
Yeah, I could see Cal not breaking 2 touchdowns.
With Garber not playing or done.
He's ruled out for like
a while.
A month at least.
I'm not sure for how long.
Total random side note, but this harkens back to a couple conversations we've had about the extensive list of quarterbacks that have gotten hurt this year. Zach Wilson's out for 2 months for BYU.
What is it?
What fucked up his shoulder in the fourth, and like one of his last throws in the fourth quarter against Toledo last week. I thought I benched him. He threw for 315. I was like, what the hell happened? Because late in the game, you normally don't see injuries like that.
Yeah.
And he's out for 2 months.
Wow. So I just pulled up Garber. He is out long term, but there's a chance he could return before the season ends.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
I thought, wow, okay.
Yeah.
They're in trouble.
And that's of today.
Yeah, they're in trouble then.
So
they'll probably scratch out 2 more wins, but I was looking at them as potential 10 game winners.
yeah, no, I was.
And they would have beaten Arizona State.
If Garber's hands down, if Garber's healthy, yeah, they beat Arizona State and they're undefeated. This is a top 15 matchup between Oregon and Cal. The final game we're going to talk about is an ACC Coastal throwdown.
Could be fun, actually.
It could be. Pitt goes to Duke. Duke's a 5-point favorite. And both teams have surprisingly put together a good season so far.
This is an interesting argument I've seen on Twitter. Bama looked generally underwhelming against Duke. But did they, in fact, beat what is going to turn out to be a pretty damn good Duke team?
I saw that too. They took Virginia Tech behind the woodshed last week.
VTech's a dumpster.
They're bad.
They need to fire Fuente.
Like now.
They need to kiffen him. Just leave him at the airport. He's destroying that program, and it's sad to see.
And Virginia Tech fans are so distraught right now about the state of that program.
You see Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler?
That video, yeah.
Yeah, like how they seem sincere. It's unfortunate to see.
Because Virginia Tech over the past 2 decades with Frank Beamer, they were always a 9-win team at least, and they
need to bring back baby Beamer, Shane.
Yeah,
he needs to go to that team. I thought Fuente was doing a better job than he was given credit for until last year, and then you kind of started to see that maybe that team wasn't very well coached. They had the transfer portal mess, and they got a few guys back out of it. Hendon Hooker came back, but now Ryan Willis was an established starter last year, and he hasn't even been named the starter this week.
He's looked so bad.
Yeah, aside from the BC game, which he still threw 3 picks, but he threw for 350. He's looked generally terrible. So, I don't think they're a bowl team.
No, Tech wins 4 games.
Finally, I don't think they're a bowl team.
And UVA, this is your UVA's going to beat them.
I cannot envision any way that UVA loses that game.
If they do, then they are cursed.
Because VTech will be in full meltdown mode by that point. Because at least last year, VTech had the specter of a potential bowl game. Because if they beat UVA, they were going to schedule Marshall to close the year. Marshall. They were going to schedule.
No, it was Marshall.
Was it Marshall?
It was Marshall.
Oh yeah, true. It was Marshall. Then they lost Cincinnati in the bowl game. Yes. I got those 2 mixed up.
Yeah,
and they knew they had that game coming up to extend the bowl streak. This year, there's not going to be that.
No,
they're going to be 4-7 at best.
And that's being optimistic.
That's being very optimistic. They might be 2-8.
And then on the flip side, Pitt, they're 3-2, but those 2 losses are to Penn State, and then the beginning of the season to UVA. It's 2 ranked teams you lose to. They're respectable.
Yes, but the big problem is Kenny Pickett going to be healthy?
Yeah.
Because they started Nick Patty last week. His stats didn't look bad, but they barely beat Delaware.
Who's not a good FCS team.
No, they're not.
They play in the CAA, so every team in the CAA is respectable from an FCS level.
Flacco
went there, yeah. So Delaware, okay, they're 2-2 now. They've lost to Pitt, and their other loss was to North Dakota State.
Okay, those aren't bad losses.
Yeah, not bad at all.
North Dakota State's legitimate.
They could be an FBS team if they wanted to be.
Very well be an FBS team. This game's tough for me. I'm going to take Duke actually either way.
I'm going to agree with you. I think that Cutcliffe has a quality team this year.
They play hard.
They do. And they go to that flexbone look, too. And it's a nice change of pace.
They have a little bit more of an athletic quarterback than they're used to. Not that Daniel Jones was a statue, but the system they ran, he wasn't asked to do a whole lot. Quentin Harris isn't as gifted as a thrower, but he's better with his legs. And their skill positions actually are pretty deep and talented.
Yeah.
I like seeing Duke good.
I do too.
I always have. So I like them here, especially at home, because I don't know much about their home attendance, but I feel like the crowd, this is a game that could get up for, especially after the blowout last week.
Let me ask you this. Can Duke challenge for the Coastal?
Everybody can. It's like the Pac-12 South. Who's hell knows?
Crapshoot.
Yeah. Once conference season develops the next few games, I think we'll start seeing the bigger picture. Miami doesn't look like a threat to anybody.
No. UVA is the only team that could separate themselves in that division.
UVA still has that taboo where they just struggle. They very well could have beaten Notre Dame last week.
If it wasn't for Bryce Perkins turning the ball over, 5 times in that game?
Something like that. What's funny is he had a career passing day. Well, almost. Second highest.
Well, when you fumble 3 times, that's not really going to do
the offensive line didn't really give many favors.
Yeah. But that'll do it for this week. I mean, that pretty short list of games. Like I said, not a whole lot.
Yeah, the whole SEC's off, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean,
Pac-12, half of it is off.
and the SEC games outside of Auburn, Florida are pretty poor. I mean, Georgia goes to Tennessee. Vandy will miss. It's
the battle for the basement.
Yeah, it's not a pretty week.
Mountain West, half of them have off.
Yeah. And
Hawaii's
Boise
off.
State goes
Boise
to UNLV.
State's playing UNLV, they're going to kill.
So really not a lot, but Auburn, Florida will be a fun one. That's going to set the path, I think, for both teams this season of how the outlook looks. And we'll be there. It'll be fun. Hopefully the Swamps rock. And yeah, we're in the damn end zone. Pretty pissed about that. I went on Twitter and ranted. You did. You let me support it. You're a good friend. But thanks for listening, guys. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Bird and the Bear CFB on YouTube, and be sure to check out all of our other podcasts. It's only uploaded late Wednesday, early Thursday morning, whenever I get around to it, I guess. But we'll see you next time. Be sure to tune in next week. For Cameron Carriglio, I'm Michael Knauff. Have a good evening. 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 Evening.